Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace. The war has actually begun. The next fate that sweeps from the north will bring to our ears the clash of resounding arms. Our brethren are already in the field. Why stand we are here idle? What is it that gentlemen wish? What should they have? Is life so dear or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. Patrick Henry. They not talking about this. They ain't even bringing this kind of conversation up about give me liberty or give me death. You know, they ain't bringing up nothing that got to do with the Constitution, Articles of Confederation. They ain't got nothing to do with the treaties of peace and friendship. They ain't talking about the Treaty of Tripoli. You know what they out here talking about? Distractions. Peace and love to all the Moors, all the Muslims, all the Asiatics worldwide. East Coast, West Coast, down south, all that good stuff. You know the rack up in here, South Side, Wild Hunnets. So, give me liberty or give me death. That should be the motto. But instead, people are sucked in to these vampires. You just like, you know how vampires, what up, fam? You know how the vampires, all the vampires do is just, they use illusions, they use misdirection, they use distractions. Shout out to Brooklyn. Distractions, and they get people sucked in to really any kind of reality that they paint. Anything that they show us on TV, don't y'all know that TV is tele-vision? So anything on television can be manipulated. It could be changed, doctored, flipped, rearranged however they want to. Shout out to Newark, New Jersey. It could be flipped, manipulated. Listen, man. How many times is this U.S. corporation gonna show us images on TV, images in the media, and people, what's up, fam? Chillin'. Images in the media where people get sucked in. Just because you see it on TV don't make it 100. Fam, hey, you know what though? Movie reference. Y'all should check out this movie called Swordfish. Check that movie out. You want a movie that'll show you how something could be flipped on the TV, on the media? Watch the movie Swordfish. Movie reference. That movie will blow your mind. How somebody can use misdirection to get everybody's attention to look that way when everything that really happening is over that way. But they can get you to look this way though. Misdirection. That's all they need. They just need you to look that way. Just like in football, play action. Quarterback fake like he doing the handoff. Quarterback hold the ball. He either sneak it or he throw a bomb to the tight end or the wide receiver. Misdirection. You cannot trust anything on mainstream media. In the upcoming weeks, y'all gonna start seeing how misdirection once again then fools society. And you might be like, well, Kush, why would they want to use misdirection on that incident that happened yesterday? It's a gang of reasons. It's a gang of reasons why they could use misdirection for that incident. Why would they do that on TV? For one, you would stir up an uproar. You would get people to focus on the incident rather than what's the reason behind the incident? What's the reasons? Hey, did y'all know when that dude was talking? When that dude Kirk was talking, did you hear the conversation and the words that he was saying? He was talking about gun violence and gang violence. That's when the alleged demo went off, and that's what happened. These people are dark magicians. They not playing like everybody else playing. Look. So just like I kicked off this beam out, where I said, give me, Patrick Henry said, give me liberty or give me death. Everybody's misdirected. They looking at the incident. They not looking at the who, the how, the why. They not looking at that. That's what a magician's job is to do, to get people to be deceived. Look over there. And meanwhile, while you looking over there, they got your attention. They over here doing some whole other scandalous shit. This is how they operate. These are the demons that operate. You might be like, why? Why would they murk dude for? Buddy was talking about a lot of stuff. One of the main reasons is they trying to get our gun. They're trying to slowly get our firearms. They don't want the American people to have firearms. They don't want. See, you gotta break down and pull the layers apart. The layering is they don't want the Americans to ever have the ammo and the mentality and the firearms and the means and the will to rebel. So what you need to have? You need to have a giant distraction. Something that'll have everybody up emotionally. So emotionally, they'll get you on charge. They know your emotions is all over the place. You trying to figure out what happened, who did it, why they do it. But you're not asking the main question. What would benefit them from that incident? The what is unum sanctum operations? What would benefit unum sanctum operations? What would benefit the dark agenda? What would benefit that? Disarm the American people. You ain't got a means now to protect yourself. Why is that important? Because it's a violation of common law. See, it's a distraction. It's a violation of your Bill of Rights. It's a violation. Look, it's a violation of this right here. All your Bill of Rights. Let's go right here to number 2. Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. You see that? You see that? So if they come out with some shit like, well, we gotta start. They already was like, nah, they can't have AR-15s. Who says that? Do you see right here how it said the right to keep and bear arms? It don't say you ain't got the right to have a firearm. It said the right to keep and bear arms. See? It's right here. The right to keep and bear arms. But if you don't know the language, they're going to get down on you. They're going to finesse you out of your rights. Don't forget, all of us have human rights. Human rights. They don't want you out here thinking. Because if you're a thinker, you're a threat. See? If you're a thinker, you're a threat to the matrix. Peace and love to all the critical thinkers that's out there. If you a critical thinker, salam. Much love to you if you a critical thinker. If you out here and you like, nah, some shit got to change out here. Some shit need to be different out here. I need to feel like, or I need to think like this way for my children to have a better future. I need to do something today. Shout out to all y'all out there. The ones that go against the matrix. The ones who just don't get told and shown something on TV and you be like, yeah, that's how it was. That's how it's gotta be. No, sir. No, sir. It ain't gotta be like the way it has been. It ain't finna be like the way it's been. Y'all realize that, right? Y'all know that the revolution won't be televised. The revolution happens up here. The revolution ain't gonna happen where everybody could just go out there and see it like that. Nah, the revolution gonna be up here. When your mind state changes, that's when everything changes. Because in order to change the outside world, the outer world, you gotta change the inner world. That's how shit change. But if you ain't doing nothing to better your mindset, you playing the game they want you to play. You not playing this game right here, the game for the win. See, this the game for the win right here. On God. And if you don't know your rights to enforce your rights, guess what? You have no rights. Dang. You have no rights if you don't know your rights. Nobody else's job is to tell you your rights. You got to know your rights. That's why in 1902, John D. Rockefeller created the General Board of Education school system. 1902. Guess what else happened in 1902? The General Board of Philosophy came out. They said, to paraphrase, people's children are going to go to these institutions and they're going to be in the molding hands of the people's teachers. Did that? Peace, more. Shout out to Jum Rock. So, shout out to all the Moorish Americans out there. Let me tell y'all something, man. If you from North, let's just do it like this. To clear up any confusion somebody might see when they come across this beam out, maybe it'll help you. Because it's all about each one teach one. So, if you are from North, Central, South America, and all of the Caribbean islands, including Hawaii, your nationality is Moorish American. How are you Moorish American? Because you are from the continental lands of North and South Africa. You might say, well, how the hell are we? What you mean Africa if we're in America? Good question. These lands are ancient lands. The planet used to be called by many names, but let's stick to Amexem. The word America is a combination of Amexem and Africa. The A-M-E, that's Amex, and the R-I-C-A, that's Rika. So that's Amexem and Africa combined. They're conjoined. That made what you know us that we know today as America. So the indigenous people of these lands right here, Moorish Americans, the problem has been you missing a collective nationality that links you to this. See? Without your nationality, you can't use the 10 Bill of Rights. You see? This is why they use deception. They use distractions. They gotta keep the indigenous people, the Moorish Americans, in the mindset of always being distracted. They always gotta have their attention diverted away from real issues. This is what's going on. This is what's been going on. If I could get the Moorish Americans to never acknowledge that they got a birthright and a trust fund and an inheritance attached to their free national name, El, Bay, Day, Al, and Ali, then they can be controlled. They can be manipulated. The squatters in the lands of the Americas, aka anybody that's not indigenous to these lands is a squatter. I don't care who they are. I don't care if they was born in America. I don't care if they grandmama from America. If your inheritance, your bloodline don't trace back to the beginning, and the beginning is multiple generations all the way down the line, you're a squatter. You're a squatter here. You're not indigenous. You're not a national here. Oh yeah. And speaking of national, for somebody that might come across this beam out and they looking for information, here's another one. Nationality, or would you say why nationality is so important, is because this right here. Nationality links you up with a proper status. The status is the problem amongst Moorish Americans who keep misidentifying as black people. This is a major problem with our people because we've been conditioned throughout the school system, throughout older generations, that we are African American, black, Negro, colored, Indians, Hebrew Israelites. We've been conditioned to misidentify with every name except the free national name, which is modern and ancient. You understand? So how do you connect back with your name? How you connect back with your name though? Your name is your ancient link up. El, Bay, Day, Al, and Ali. So what would that do to you right now? What that would do is that will bring you back into constitutional fold of government. That's here. You have to come back here to a constitutional fold of government. Look, why is that important? Let me show you. Why is that important? Look, because without that, these people are able to do stuff like this. USC, Title 18, subsection 242. Deprivation of rights under color of law. Whoever under color of any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom willfully subjects any person in any state to the deprivation of any rights shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not only more than 1 year or both. Nah, why is this important? Because these people who created in 1871 the U.S. corporation, you got to know this distinction. I know we got a limited amount of time on this beam out, but I hope you taking notes and look them up yourself. The distractions keep happening. Well, we keep looking at everything else but who we are. We keep by design being distracted, like the incident that happened yesterday. Yeah, you could say like, damn, that shit was tragic. But I guarantee you in the next coming weeks, you're going to start seeing more information on how that could have been AI generated and a psyop for purposes of gun control. They don't care about money. The people that's really pulling the strings, that's out here, money is not even a factor. They care about control. Music. Watch. Music. If you can control the music, you can control the people. If you can control what the people eat, the food, you can control the people. I'm going to give you some examples, right? Why do you think early on in so-called rap, gangster, hip-hop, gangster rap, it went from hip-hop, conscious rap, to gangster rap, and then it went from gangster rap to the shit that's out right now? Well, they just doing mumble rap. They just saying any goddamn thing on the microphone. Talk about perks, drugs, lean. They talking about killing each other. And you know that these CEOs in the rap industries, they got connections to the prison industries. So think about the control with that. If you can get people to make contracts with artists, the artists got the influence. The people that create these contracts in the record labels, they know that. They understand science. They understand law. They understand psychology, right? So when they say, all right, look, we gonna sign you, but on this contract, you got to make all kind of slut rap. You got to make music that promotes degeneracy, ass shaking 24/7. You really got no kind of balance. You got really no kind of positive or just it's straight negative, right? Nah, that's the music. Nah, the connection with the music is if you get people to listen to it, whether you believe it or not. Music is a very powerful thing. Because music is a universal language. You might not even know the words to Michael Jackson. You might not even know them words. You might not even speak English. But I guarantee you, you're going to know that song. You're going to know the song. Why? Because it's dealing with rhythm. It's dealing with the rhythm. And what is the rhythm? Rhythm is the thing that keeps people in motion, because they have studied this to a T. They understand the science behind the music. And the music, you hit the different notes in the music. You got high notes, alto notes, baritone notes. They understand this, right? So think about it now. When you talk about the music, they had the gangster rap. First they had the conscious rap, then they moved to the gangster rap. Now it's slut rap promotion. So the prison pipeline cut a deal with the music industry. So they like, look, y'all sign these artists. I want nothing but slut rap, gangster rap. I want everything that's unconscious to be pushed and programmed in the minds of these people. Because who consumes the most? We do. Do you know that so-called black people, they spend trillions and trillions of dollars per year? And when they say so-called black people ain't got no money, that's cap. We got a gang of money. We just putting it in the wrong places. Putting the money in the strip clubs. You putting the money in the fucking churches. You putting the bread in the strip clubs and the churches. Ain't that something? Strip clubs and the churches. That's why our money going. Strip clubs and the churches. Now, let's go to the prison system. So the influence of the music, I have them out here thinking, people that don't got a strong mind, they gonna be thinking like they really living like a lifestyle that the person rapping about or singing about. They really think in their mind that they could do this shit in real life because they're being influenced through the music, right? So they out here on crazy shit, popping pills, taking perks, drinking crazy, smoking crazy. Now their mind is easily influenced by the music. So here they go out here doing crazy shit, trying to keep up and do what the music telling them to do, not understanding the power of influence. They doing the crazy shit in real life now. Now, this is where the prison system come in. Now they do a crime, boom. Now, you locked up. Even if you locked up and get released, they still got you in the system. Catch and release. This is another program. This is another program in the dark web. This is another program in the dark matrix. This is another program for the dark agenda. Totally against common law, constitutional law, divine law. Totally against the Articles of Confederation. Totally against the Bill of Rights. But again, if you don't know your rights, you ain't got no rights. Now, let's go to, along with that, in the industrial prison system, do you know how much it costs to keep one inmate inside a cell? And now we take it to word magic. When they lock one of us up unconstitutionally, because we didn't know law, history, and nationality and civics, how it worked, we agreed to take a plea. Now you take a plea, now we talking about the courtroom. You in the courtroom, the person that sits in front of you, they're not an Article 3 judge. So they have no jurisdiction to incarcerate you and I, because they're foreigners in this land. And if you go in the Bill of Rights, go to the Bill of Rights, go to the Constitution, look up the 13th Amendment, the original. Nah, I ain't got one on me. You go to the original 13th Amendment, it tell us right there, the titles of nobility. Only people that got titles of nobility is us. See? You see? You see that? These people don't got titles of nobility. The people, the magistrates that sit up there in them black robes, they up there for execution. They not up there for justice. It's a distraction. It's a dark ritual that's happening inside that courtroom. But if you not knowing the logistics and the law, you're going to go into that courtroom like a sheep finna get slaughterhoused. You see? Now you would say, all right, well, what's over here with the food? I'm talking fast. I'm moving fast because I got to move around in a second. But the significance of controlling the food. Think about it. If you can control the farmers, you can control the food. And if you can control the food, you can dictate what the people, the population, puts inside their body. Did y'all see the news about all these people that's showing what McDonald's and all these fast food corporations is putting inside they food? Disgusting. They putting, fam, brace yourself, all right? If you out there, do the research. 313, what up, dog? If you out there and you eat McDonald's, fast food, like Cracker Barrel, and all these different franchisees, these franchises, brace yourself, all right? I'm letting you know, brace yourself, prepare yourself. You've been eating human meat. Yeah, I know. You've been eating human meat. You might be like, nah, cuz you ain't been eating no human meat. No, don't say that. You would say, nah, that's a conspiracy theory. Listen, they don't even make cows fast enough to, do you know how many burgers McDonald's alone says that they serve a day. You know how many chicken wings that they say and they got for chicken nuggets per day? Chickens don't grow that fast. Cows don't grow that fast. Pigs don't grow that fast. So what are they using for the meat? Movie reference. Watch the movie Soylent Green. Soylent Green. And on top of that, let's give you another movie reference. Watch the movie The Book of Eli with Denzel. Watch that movie. Give you an insider if you ain't seen the movie yet. It's a scene in that movie where Denzel and the girl, they in the house. It's two old Caucasians up in the crib. And their hands was shaking. They had what's known as the shakes, right? So old girl was like, "Did you see their hands shaking?" He was like, "Yeah. Too much. They eat too much human meat. These are the side effects of cannibalism. Straight satanic. These are the side effects to cannibalism. You get the shakes. You start forming dementia. See, you start getting all these illnesses inside your body because the human light vehicle, the Merkaba, we are not supposed to consume human flesh. Not supposed to do that. It's against divine law. It's against universal law. Not supposed to consume that shit. And you might be like, why would they serve human meat to people? Because they're satanic. And they know if you consume human meat out of your own free will and consent, then you are saying to the universe, you don't care about your temple. You don't care that they serving you human meat. And you co-sign eating human flesh. This is why you got so many people out here cracking up right now. They going insane. Remember that Chick-fil-A? Remember that, what was it, Chick-fil-A? How they was talking about how Chick-fil-A got 20 to 30 chemicals inside a chicken. And you would say, why do people always go so crazy for Chick-fil-A sandwiches? Why are people always tweaking out for Chick-fil-A sandwiches? Why is Chick-fil-A always flooded in the line? Why? Because they implant chemical substances inside of these meats. On my soul, just like Popeyes. Y'all remember a couple years ago? Remember Popeyes say they created a whole new chicken sandwich? You can't forget, Morris. You can't forget. These people are dark magicians. They're dark wizards. They're dark scientists. They use the knowledge for the dark side. So when they say, all right, look, we're going to create a whole new, a rave. We're going to create mass hysteria for chicken sandwiches. That's exactly what they did. Remember what they did? They had these people out here literally driving through the drive-thru. They drove through the drive-thru window. I'm talking about shootouts. I'm in Iraq. This is the shit that was happening. You have motherfuckers outside going insane for chicken sandwiches from Popeyes. And you might be like, damn, driving through the window? Yes, sir. Driving straight through the windshield to get a chicken sandwich. So you like, what is in this food that got people going nuts? They going crazy to get a chicken sandwich. You control the food, you control the music, you control the narrative. That's number 3. It's control. Not to mention the candy with the food. Don't even get me started on the candy. High fructose candy. I'm talking about they got all kind of chemicals inside of the candy. Insane. You should pick up this book called what is that? It's a book by Jim Marrs. European dude, but the book fire. It's called what's it called? Depopulation. World Depopulation or something like that. It's a book by Jim Marrs though. Fire. It's gray and red. Crazy. So they got us out here. They got people out here, man. If you're not a critical thinker, they got you in a headlock because he got you distracted with the football game, basketball game, baseball game, soccer game. They got you distracted with the boxing events that's finna come up. I love all that shit. Boxing, football, MMA, baseball. I love all that. But if you just out here thinking that, well, the television is, they just gonna show me the truth. And everything that they show me damn near is the real shit. No, sir. No, sir, fam. Yo. There's a dark agenda to everything that you see on television. This is why they got to keep people distracted with entertainment. You see, the entertainment is how you get people to go from they finna do something, they finna step up and stand up, give me liberty or give me death, to being docile. Nah, they fell back. They done grabbed some beers. They done sat on the couch. They done rolled up and lit up. Now they chilling. They distracted. The gender wars. Who you think created Pop the Balloon Show? Let me just ask y'all this, man. Who y'all think created the gender wars? The gender wars Pop the Balloon Show. Don't y'all realize all this shit? How can these people just come out of nowhere? They just come out of nowhere, and next thing you know, they're an internet sensation. They have to be getting funded. Somebody got to be putting that bread up. How y'all come out of nowhere and now y'all everywhere? From nowhere to everywhere. How? Because it's a perfect distraction. It's to get people to go in front of the camera. Some of them, more than others, they make fools of themselves and they just want to be on TV. They want to be on television because they trying to go viral and they trying to get a moment. So they'll say anything, they'll do anything just to be in that position. Avarice appetites. Damn. Instead of having an appetite for this. They ain't got no appetite for this right here. Nah, they ain't got no appetite for this. Common law, handbook, nah. They ain't got that. So the main point is, fam, it's not about money with these people that's pulling the strings. They don't care about money. They care about control. That's the thing. Control. If they could get you to be controlled by distractions, diversions, have you in a state of ignorance and bliss at the same time. That's why they say ignorance is bliss. You see? Because you got people that don't care about being ignorant. Because in their mind, it's a blissful place to be because they ain't got to be accountable. Damn. Ignorance is bliss. You ain't got to be accountable if you full of ignorance. Shout out to St. Louis. Think about it. You ain't got to be accountable if you ignorant. You ain't got to be accountable, fam. You ain't got to be accountable. You ain't got to be accountable if you ignorant. You could be in bliss. You ain't got to be accountable for nothing. You just doing what you doing. You see? That's why they be like, ignorance is bliss. Because you ain't gotta be accountable if you full of ignorance. It's no accountability there. Because all you gotta say is, I didn't know. But guess what? In law, if you don't know, you're not excused in law. That's what I'm saying. This right here is the key. Exercising this right here is the key. Shout out to Baltimore. And even if you're thinking about it, one of the main problems and solutions that's out here is the fact that nobody got to be ignorant out here when it comes to the Bill of Rights. You don't got to be ignorant out here. You really don't. Because the information is everywhere. Hey, how you doing? The information is out here everywhere. All you gotta do is turn on your phone. Fam, you know you holding a computer in your hand. iPhone ain't changed their phone design since they came out like that. But you still finna pay $1,400 for an iPhone. For what? They ain't changed shit about their phone. But you gonna pay that for that new iPhone, ain't you? And the whole time you got a computer in your hand. Laptop. You got all that good stuff, right? See? But the 3 subjects that our people don't study is law, history, and civics. That'll kill a whole lot of shit outside. See? Study that law, study them civics. You know what I'm saying? Look, let me show you something. Check it out. Check this out right here. Let me show you this. This from my book right here. Hidden in Plain Sight. Let me show y'all something about my book right here. Look at this. All right. I don't even know if you see her right here? What's she on? It say the meaning of conviction of the truth of a proposition or alleged facts without knowledge. That's a belief. It dates back to the 1530s. It is also sometimes used to include the absolute conviction or certainty which accompanies knowledge. This is where many of our people enter a stage of program denial, incorrectly and harmfully merging beliefs with knowledge. Bing bong. Our people love merging how they feel, what they believe in with actual knowledge. See, you can't, and it don't work like that. It don't work like that, boys. You can't merge a belief with facts. Beliefs and facts don't even go together. You can't merge a belief and a fact together. Just because you got conviction about something, that don't make it real. You just feel strong about it. That don't make it real. You just believe it. And to believe means that you're susceptible to be lied to. Because you don't know. You just believe it. That's why the root word of knowledge is to know. You get it? Belief means you don't know. So just like what we saw on TV, all around, they plastered the shit all on TV. How do we really know that happened? How do we know? How do you really know? You don't know. All I know is I seen his finger. He got a ring on his ring finger on his left hand. I seen the video, his ring moved from his ring finger to his pinky. How that happen? You know what I'm saying?
7 born.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I'm an 80s kid.
Yes, sir. Hidden in Plain Sight. It's available on KhalifaMedia.com. Check it out. You can snatch this book up right here. Let me see if I there you go. KhalifaMedia.com. You can snatch it up right from there. Right from there. And let me show y'all this real quick before I move around. Let me show you this. Look at this. Look at this. Let me show you this real quick. You want to fix something? You can fix something like this today. See this right here? Man, know thyself. It's a contrary to popular belief. There are 5 true universal components which equally make up the natural man and woman, as opposed to the legal term artificial person. So-called persons of color, Indian, Native American, Pan-African, Black, Negro, etc. are all 3/5 colorable brands placed on Moorish indigenous peoples to confuse and trick them out of their lands, resources, nationality, inheritance, culture. The list goes on. So let me just show you what they are. Everybody on this planet, just to sum it up, everybody on this planet that's born has a spirit, soul, body, nationality, and a divine creed. Everybody that come on this planet, when you born here, everybody got this. What happened to our people in 1776 is our nationality and our creed was taken away from us because we strayed away from honoring our ancient foremothers and forefathers. That's what happened. See? That's what happened with our people. And to this day, our people still merging their belief system with actual knowledge. It don't work like that. You can't merge opinions with facts. It either is or it ain't. See? So the 5 components of a natural man and woman are the spirit, soul, body, nationality, and creed. You see? So the nationality, that's the descendant birth attachment, though, and special nation or tribe. Free national name. The lineage identity. That's your nationality. The creed is the religious path of God consciousness established through forefathers, vine, and fig tree. So when you go to the Constitution and you say, all right, well, let me make a link up between that, the 5 components of a natural man and a natural woman. How you link that up with law today? Good question. Go to the Constitution, the supreme law of the land. Look up Article 1, Section 2, where it's going to speak on the 3/5 of a man. Guess who the 3/5 of a man is classified as in the Constitution? The black man, the black woman, the colored man, the colored woman, the so-called Indian. You still labeled as a 3/5 person. This is how police, the courts, anybody out here in society mistreats so-called black people who are really Moorish American by nationality. That part. That part. You see, this is not opinion though. Why y'all think Noble Drew Ali? Why y'all think none of this information is like publicized? It's always discredited by our own people. Do you hear Caucasians just out here talking crazy, telling you that you're not a Moor? Matter of fact, have you ever had a Caucasian tell you that you're not a Moorish American or a Moor? Have you ever told them that these lands right here are from the indigenous Moorish Americans? Has any Caucasian ever told you that you didn't know what you was talking about? Since people love listening to these hybrids, pale skins, have any pale skins ever told you that you wasn't a Moor? It's always coming, all the static always come from our own people. Don't it though? Don't it always come from our own people? The ones that's telling you, nah, you ain't that. Nah, you African American. Jesse Jackson made that up. Huh? Columbus told you was an Indian. Huh? You see? It's always somebody telling us who we is. It ain't never us standing on who we say we are. Like, you say you a Moorish American. I stand on it. Prove to me that I'm not a Moorish American. How about that? Prove to me that I'm not a Moor. Prove it. They can't do it. You say, how do we fix it? The first start of the fix is up here, Moor. The mentality. Your mentality got to shift. That's the fix. Because as you think and your words come out, that's going to go to your actions. So if your mind is under the black spell, the black spirit, you got to exercise it out your system. You got to perform a self-exorcism. That means you got to go inside yourself and you got to say to yourself, I'm not black, Negro, colored, African American. I'm not Pan-African. Because those places do not exist on the planet. Think about this. Because you said, how do we fix it? First thing you got to do is you got to identify with an actual landmass. Don't you notice how everybody around the world, they identify with a land? Palestine, Palestinians. China, Chinese people. Japan, Japanese people. Australia, Australians. You see how I'm naming actual lands, geographic places on the planet? Now, when you flip that and you say African American, that ain't no place. That ain't no land. When you say Pan-African, that's not a place. That's not a land. That's not a geographic location. When you say a black man, where is black land? Where is it? It don't exist. See? That's been the problem. We've been hanging on, claiming everything but a place that got a name that link up to a land. Then you say, all right, look, well, you say you Moorish American, so where's Moorish America at? Good question. Moorish American is the last name that's written in constitutional law, treaty law. You would say Al-Moroccan, or you would say Moor. That's the name. And you can verify that if you look up the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. It's going to let you know right there. This is why they don't talk about treaties when it comes to television, news. They don't bring up treaty law. They don't teach us government when we in school. Why would they do that? Why would somebody teach you the blueprint, the playbook to go against the machine? That's why John D. Rockefeller, this is why the Rockefellers created the school system. Because if you don't know no better, they're going to keep pushing it. They're going to keep pushing the machine on your ass. See? That's why they don't teach civics. They don't teach constitutional law. They don't teach real history. They tell us that the rulers, the kings and queens that was over there in Europe, they say they was pale skins. How? How could they be pale skins? How? Think about it. How could a Caucasian be a king or a queen in the land that was discovered by Moors? How does that make sense? I like things that make sense. That don't make no sense. Queen Europa, she was a Moor. So how did she lose her throne to a pale-skinned Caucasian? It just don't make sense. You see? It just don't make no sense. That's where we at right now when you talk about how to fix it. How to fix it? Identify with your birthright. Your birthright comes with your free national name. El, Bey, Day, Al, and Ali. And let me show you this real fast, because we got a couple minutes. Let me show you this. Let me show you this real fast. Pick up this book right here. Pick up this book right here. The Moorish Rulers of Scotland and the British Isles. Pick up this book right here. Watch this. Just watch this. You got any of these last names? See what it says? It says Blackmore Family Crest. Look at these names on here. If your last name is one of these names, you come from royalty. Amore, Calmore, Mordant, Bower, Gillam, Grunham, Fanham, Andros, Agus, Christie, Lindsay, Buller, Butchworth, Ashford, Borchwood, Dobson, Den, Ag, Haynes, Monson, Norley, Person, Halberton. See? Like the dude that played for the Pacers, Halliburton, Seymour, Shirley, Tanner, Soame, Agus, Haggis, Stewart, and many more. Each of the above identities, long before names were standardized, was spelled in various forms over 60 different ways. Do you see this? Do you see this? That's the family crest right there, though. And who you see on the family crest? You see a noble, a Moor. Hold on. See, that's when you sign them horns off. That's when you blow them horns off. Peace, Ray. That's when you blow them horns off. So this is over here in Europe, right? Europe's coat of arms. Now watch this. You see this? Look, let me zoom in right there. Hold up. Let me zoom in real quick. I want to show y'all this history because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Look at these names on the family crest in Europe. Because the first Europeans were not pale-skinned people. They were not pale-skinned Caucasians. The first people that ruled over there in Europe and the entire world looked like you and I. Olive complexion, dark complexion, tawny complexion, swarthy complexion. They were not pale skins. That's a spell that was implanted on our people to make us think that we less than. That's why they said you're black. Be black. That's why they said you are black. This is why you got to exercise. You got to give yourself an exorcism. You got to let that black identity go. You can't even use that shit as on some playful shit. Like, I know motherfuckers be playing around, they be talking shit, but people don't realize the power of words, fam. Words are very powerful. Show y'all something. See this? What it say? It says the earliest symbols of the Piet Scottish tribe. So we talking about Scotland, right? The earliest names of these people is this right here. The Irish, the British, Germans, Austrians, French, and the rest of Europe's coats of arms were originally images of Negro Moorish race. OMG. Now y'all see? Now, can you see it now? We talking about the original Picts, the original Scots, the original Irish, British, Germans. Don't y'all know? Don't y'all know that Adolf, I ain't even finna say his last name. Did you know that Adolf was dark complexion? Yo! Don't say that. Yeah, Morris. Yeah, fam. Adolf was not a pale skin. I'm talking about the OG. The original Adolf, he wasn't pale skin like they told us. Nah. You might be like, what? Yes, fam. Adolf was not a pale skin. Look, let me show you something. And again, we talking facts. We ain't talking opinions. It says, an old African tradition that was practiced long before the emergence of a European power. The earliest descriptions, insignias, and designs of Europe's coats of arms are still memorialized in every nation of the world, signifying lineage, accomplishment, or character of a person, family, organization, region, or state. Bing fucking bong. This is what the original Scottish, British, Irish, Germans, this is their complexion. This is why they said they're memorialized around every nation of the world. Because every nation in the world did not identify as black. They identified as Moors. That's the missing link. That's the link up. You got to connect with that word Moor. You keep identifying with the wrong word. That's why it's chaos outside. That's the reason. You got to identify with that bloodline. Check it out. Check this out. So it say, the original names applied to Europe's coats of arms were Biggs, look at the spelling, Moorhead, McMore, see the name, McMore, O'More again, Moore, Morrison, Blackmore, Moore, look at the spellings, Morphin, look at the spellings, Leader, Moore, Blackmore, look at the spellings of Moore, M-O-I-R. M-A-I-R, M-U-R-E, Morgan, Bolin, Biggs. How many people do you know by them last names alone? Morris, Morrison. They name is Moore. Her last name Moore. Look at that. Her last name is Moore. M-O-O-R-E. You got the word Moore in your name. It's in your name already though. You feel me? So look, before I slide, hey, you know how powerful words is? Y'all seen the movie Sinners before, right? Y'all seen that movie? The movie Sinners. Let me give you an example real quick on how the power of words is. Now, remember, they was in a barn and the vampires was outside. Remember that? And remember that Asian chick, her husband got bit and he was outside. But he was throwing signals to her subliminally in her head. He telling her like, open the door, come outside. Remember, I'm talking about the movie Sinners. Check it out. So, remember his wife, she started tweaking, going crazy and shit. They trying to keep her control. But the vampires, they was whispering to her in her head. They in her ears, right? So she started tweaking, I'm saying, bugging up and shit. She like, she started going crazy and shit, right? And fam grabbed her. They grabbed her, trying to get her under control. And remember, they covered up her mouth. I'm talking about the movie Sinners, when they was in the barn. The Asian chick was bugging up, going crazy. Fool ass grabbed her by the mouth to try to shut her up. Because remember, the vampires, they can only enter if you give them an invitation. So the Asian chick, she started bugging up, going crazy, right? And then after fam covered her mouth up, she bit his hand. And then her mouth opened up. And what did she say? She said, come on in. All vampires need you to do is open up the door and give them an invitation. Words are powerful. So if you putting words in the atmosphere like Negro, black, colored, Indian, African American, if you putting all these black spirits into the universe, then those words, they're going to become you. It's called association. You know how they say guilty by association? Our people have been brainwashed to accept a guilty by association word. Black. You're guilty by association because you're not black, but you keep associating yourself with the word black, which in law dehumanizes you. It denationalizes you. It takes away your life, your liberty, your freedom, your pursuit of happiness. You say, do all Moors align with Islamic principles? Islam got two sides. That's a great question. If you are Muslim, then you study ancient Muslim teachings. But a Muslim and a Muslim, they ain't the same thing. A Muslim means to be the divine, to be the divine will of the great will of Allah. That's a Muslim. That's why the Prophet Noble Drew Ali always identified us as Muslims. A Muslim means to submit the will to the will of Allah. It's a difference. Salam. What's the word? Alhamdulillah. You see? This is why we study Muslim law, because Muslim is ancient. Muslim is modern. That ain't us. We don't got to do all them rituals and all them. We ain't got to do none of that. You free to do whatever you want to do because that's your freedom, your birthright. That's a great question, though. All right. Anybody got questions? Hit me on the DM because I'm finna slide, move around. You know what I'm saying? Friday out here in the rack. You know, y'all stay dangerous out there, man. Teach your babies. When I say stay dangerous, I'm talking about intellectually dangerous. They can't mess with you intellectually. They can't mess with you mentally. They can't mess with you spiritually. That's what I mean when I say stay dangerous. Stay sharp. Stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. Because the vampires is loose. They out here running wild. Study that Constitution. Study that law. Study that history. Because your history is all around you. But see, once you know what you're looking at, then you can put it together. You got to know what you're looking at, though. You got to know what you're looking at. You can snatch this book right here, the color version, off khalifamedia.com. You can snatch these other two books from Amazon, like $5 holler. All right? Stay dangerous out here, boys. Much love. Appreciate all y'all tuning in, man. Study, study, study. Teach your babies. Don't be a believer. Be a thinker and a knower. Look up everything. Question everything and everybody, including what I'm talking about right now. Look it up. Then you make it real to yourself. I Self Law and Master. Much love. Peace, Moors.